Chris Brown, Steve Tasker, and Bill's team reporter Maddy Glab joining us in studio for what else? The Maddy Awards, which are presented by Energy Mark, the official energy supplier to the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills were certainly bringing the energy yesterday, Maddy.
Oh, yes, they were 8-0 at home in the regular season. Love to see a stat like that, especially when the Bills get to defend home turf in the playoffs.
Very nice.
Indeed.
Very nice.
And we've got some... I like some of the titles of the awards this week. I'm not going to lie.
I love it.
But we'll begin with MVP, which is pretty self-explanatory.
We know
right?
the drill. I'm just calling him the MVP until he earns the
Just
award.
listing this every
until
week.
he gets the award, not earns it. He already has earned it. Our MVP is Josh Allen. He locked it up yesterday, ladies and gentlemen. I'm calling it. He is the official MVP of the 2024 season. Another season with at least 40 touchdowns. Josh Allen becomes the only player in NFL history to do it 5 straight years in a row. He joins Aaron Rodgers as the only NFL players to do it at least 5 times throughout their career. Rodgers did it 6 times. He finishes yesterday's game with 3 touchdowns, a 104 passer rating. Josh Allen had a couple super impressive touchdown passes over to Amari Cooper, that 50-50 ball, trusting his receiver to go up and get it, and that awesome throw across his body to Keon Coleman for a touchdown. Sean McDermott said, "I have a hard time believing there's anybody else who's done more for his team," when asked about why Allen deserves the MVP. And I definitely agree. He is Buffalo's most valuable player. He does more for this team than I think anybody else does when you look at what quarterbacks do for their teams. I know it's been a big conversation. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has had a fantastic season yet again, but it's Josh Allen's time to shine. You know what? I don't care about what people say about the MVP doesn't win the Super Bowl. I think the Bills can
Someone's been
do
on
it.
social media
I think
today.
the Bills can do it. You know what? They defy the odds.
Someone's been on social media today. Check it out, the trolls. That was, I will say this, though, after the game, that was the most outspoken we have seen Coach McDermott concerning the MVP award. Now, he was asked a direct question, but he did not give a roundabout answer.
No.
He was as plain as he has been all season long in why he believes Josh is deserving of the award. What did you make of that, Steve?
Yeah, I think he's sticking up for his guy. He's hurt. These guys, they don't comment on it, and they make public statements about it, and they know that they're going to be perceived in large measure by what they say.
Yeah.
Even more so than what they do. So I'm sure he probably had that answer in his pocket. He's always going to stick up for Josh. I mean, Josh has been in large measure, well, no question, he's the best player on the squad ever since they drafted him. So he's earned it. He has had great years before this and got nothing for it. And I'm pretty sure Sean is like, yeah, it's time.
Yeah. And it was funny because some people even took Coach's comments and said, "Ooh, does this mean that Josh is not playing next week and he knows it, so he's saying all this about Josh?" So it's unbelievable.
I love it.
All right, let's go to the Bullies Award.
The Bullies, our defense bullied the Jets the entire game. Buffalo's defense was pitching a shutout halfway through the 4th quarter. They forced 3 total takeaways, 4 sacks. He got a big man interception out of that defensive tackle. Jordan Phillips had his 2nd interception of his career. He then posts on social media on Instagram this morning and says, "It was a pretty cool day. I'm just thankful." Love that guy's having such a fun time being a Buffalo Bill this season. The Jets' first half went like this: turnover on downs, interception, safety. That's about how the entire game went for the Jets on offense. The pass rush came alive in this one, and I think we really needed to see a game where the defensive line took over before the playoffs. That was on my wish list of what I wanted to see in Week 17, and it came true. Also, we got to give a kudos here to Steve Tasker because he called The big man interception. He said, I'm feeling it. I think the defense is going to get a takeaway. Then he reiterated it like a play before it actually happened, and the booth went wild. As Chris Brown and Eric Wood are calling the game just wonderfully, we're on the back bench like, Steve Tasker got that right.
I got it. When they started the drive, I said, this series is going to end with a turnover. This is how it's going to get back to the Bills. They're going to get a turnover. And then they went from their territory all the way down, and everybody's kind of talking about the plays that were going on and how the drive was going, and penalties and all of that. And then I said, don't forget, this is still the series where they're going to turn it over. And then the big man comes down with it.
Bippity-boppity boop.
And I was vindicated.
There you were.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's right again, Brownie. How about it?
You're on a roll, man.
I'm on
You're ascending into the postseason as well.
That's
so
right.
we'll be looking forward for most
Right.
of some other predictions here.
I got to stay healthy.
We got to put them on the.
I got to stay.
Got to put them on the whiteboard. All right, the Tone Setter Award.
Tone setter, defensive end, Greg Rousseau. Hello, you big man. You had a great day. He set the tone for the defense. He had a 4th down stop on the Jets' first drive of the game. Rousseau also had a tipped pass that turned into an interception and a half sack. McDermott said after the game, Greg Rousseau is one of our best players, and our best players need to play like that every single week. Rousseau, I think, has proven this year that, hey, I can step up in those big opportunities when the defense needs to come alive. I'm going to be there to take down the quarterback, to help tip a pass, to help my offense out by giving the ball back to them. He has a career high 8.5 sacks, 24 quarterback hits this season. He's such a talented pass rusher. He's proven that with his get off and his arm length. He's got an 83-inch wingspan that you can't get away from when he's going after a quarterback. You cannot get away from his reach.
Yeah, and he's been consistent all season long. I would argue he's probably the most consistent defensive lineman the Bills have had this season. If you go look at his numbers, they might even surprise you. But, he's got a new single-season career high for sacks. Mm-hmm. But if you look at his tackles for loss, his quarterback pressures, he's in the top 10 in the league. And he's kind of done that quietly. Do you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't seem to get the headlines that a lot of other guys around the league get, and it's because he's kind of a soft-spoken guy himself. But, man, does he make an impact on games.
He uses his length to great effect. I mean, right here you see him tipping the pass to Jordan Phillips and just plays like that. I think that's the thing that I notice about him. He's just always on the field. He's always in position. He's dependable, available. Never comes off the field, rarely gets injured, plays through when he gets hurt. He's been a constant ever since he was drafted, and I think the fact that his floor is so high is one of the things that I think is most impressive about him.
All right, we go to the Cant Be Stopped Award.
Can't be stopped. This Buffalo Bills team cannot be stopped at home. 8-0 in the regular season. They just do that for the 3rd time in team history. The first time since 1990. They're averaging 34 points per game at home and allowing under 20 points per game at home, 17.6 to be exact. This is what you want to see out of this group, who's going to need to defend home turf against the playoffs. Whoever comes in here to play in the first couple rounds of the playoffs, who knows, maybe we could be hosting an AFC championship game here too as well. You need to play great at home, and this team has done that all season long. This is not just an award for the guys on the field. This is also an award for our fans, because they bring it every single home game, and they're going to need to continue to bring it in the playoffs.
Yeah, they got a false start called on the Jets' O-line there when they were backed up deep in their own territory on the scoreboard end.
Yeah.
And then, the safety happened soon thereafter. So there it is. Just a small example of the impact that the crowd has had.
Then you got the Hats Off Award.
Hats off to some of our backups who got some meaningful snaps in this one at the end of the game. The Bills were up 33-0 heading into the 4th quarter. So Josh Allen takes a seat, and in comes some of the backups. Mitchell Trubisky and Tyrell Shavers is who I want to highlight, because Trubisky tosses a ball over to wide receiver Tyrell Shavers, who takes it 69 yards to the house. He does his best impression of Khalil Shakir with those yak yards on that play. Hats off to those two who work their butts off every single week in practices, helping out each other, helping out their position groups. You want to know how close this team is? Just watch how the sideline celebrated after Tyrell Shavers came off the field after scoring that touchdown. The sideline erupted for him and Mitchell Trubisky, and rightfully so, because they are such a big part of this group. Even though they're not starting every single week, they're still a really big part of this operation.
First target, first reception, first touchdown.
It's
all
awesome.
in the same package.
It's kind of a culture moment when they show through once in a while, and we talk about it all the time, and some people think it's some sort of secretive thing, and it speaks about the affection the players have for each other. And we talk about it all the time about how it's a really difficult game to play because it's physically demanding and it's physically punishing. And guys appreciate each other, and to have a guy work as hard as he has, like Shavers obviously has, and to have all the other guys on the team who play in, week out, are out there, and Shavers gets up and does that, and to see how happy they are for him, that was a kind of a Sean McDermott moment as much as it was a Terrell Shavers moment.
He got a game ball in the post-game locker room. Coach gave him a game ball. You know, it said, guy's been working his tail off the last 3 years, hasn't been on the active roster, but has been elevated from the practice squad 3 times and made the most of his opportunity yesterday, obviously. And you see him take the ball from Coach, and you can read his lips as he's talking in Coach's ear while everybody else is hooting and hollering. He says, "I love you."
Oh,
That's what he said to Coach. So
feel-good moment for
there
sure.
it is. The X Factor Award.
The X Factor is our diversity on offense. The fact that 13 different players have caught a touchdown pass this season. It ties for the most in NFL history. This X factor on offense this season has been their ability to get different guys involved every single game. This team went into the season with a mantra of everybody's going to eat on offense. We didn't know what exactly that would look like, but we've seen throughout the entire season, different guys are featured on different weeks. And what it's resulted in is the fact that this is really hard to prepare for. Defenses don't always know what's going to come at them because you've got a practice squad player in Tyrell Shavers scoring a touchdown this past game. You've got a running back in Ty Johnson catching ball after ball in the previous few weeks. You have to prepare for everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad here. And just real quick, your next award, Best Moment Award, I saw this today, and
What'd you think?
I thought it was absolutely awesome. Some of the stuff that happened, Jets coaches came into the press box and they were fired up. They were kind of making an overshow
in the broadcast booth
area. The broadcast booth area where they come up and they have a booth over next door to everybody. Like you see them on camera every once in a while where the coaches are up in their booth. Well, that's over on the sideline where Brownie and Jim Nance and Tony Romo and Eric Wood and all these and the Jet broadcasters were all in that place together, and there's a booth here and a booth here and a booth here. The Jets coaches come in, and they were hooting and hollering and high-fiving.
Which
going,
is
"Let's go."
uncommon.
It's uncommon. They're
It's
usually
a quiet
very
area.
respectful. But the Jets coaches came in and made a big deal. So, also, down in the tunnel, there was a lot of hooping and hollering going on by the Jets players. They were kind of putting on a show that they were fired up and ready to go. And then they also had this thing where they were coming down to warm up, and they got a guy
with a boombox.
Yeah, they got a hype
the
guy.
49ers do this.
Yes.
Some other teams do
They
it.
got a hype guy with this 2 foot by 3 foot boombox.
Which fine.
All right.
If that's who you want to be, fine.
Right, and of course the game went how it is, and there were some memes going around about what the music was playing. But then from the other angle, there's a picture. Look at that. Josh is looking over their shoulder. They're walking by.
All
Josh
right, so let Maddy take it away from
It's
here.
awesome.
I loved it. I saw this on social media this morning. I didn't see it last night. So when I woke up to this and this was on my timeline on X, I smiled because it is such a funny moment. You have Josh Allen, who's about to go onto the field, is just kind of peeking out probably. He heard some noise. He heard Gangsters Paradise playing, which was what was booming on that boombox, and Allen just has the slightest smirk on his face in this photo. It's just kind of like, hey, I'm enjoying this moment. I'm enjoying watching what's happening right now. And the best part is the before and after, because here's the before. The Jets are taking the field. Allen is watching them walk by. And then the after is the fact that Buffalo's offense hung 40 points on that team.
Yes, there have since been some other songs laid under that video that are not Gangsters Paradise by Coolio, rest in peace. The Curb Your Enthusiasm theme song has been used here, among others. So make of it what you will. When you put yourselves out there like that, you do run the risk of being ridiculed, especially when you're on the wrong end of a 36-point defeat.
A lot of people aren't privy to the stuff we see because, like, you're up in the tunnel like this. Now you are, because of social media, and the Jets were keeping track of that. They were filming it just like Bills people were, and the media people up in the booth. We kind of get to see some things nobody else does, and it was clear the Jets came in. Ulbrich had those guys saying, "Listen, go in there believing you can win, and let's see some emotion. Let's show them how ready we are, and show them." Well, they did it pregame with the hype guy and the coaches going up to the booth and all that. Well, once it kicked off, it not so much. But I don't think there's any question. Ulbrich's doing the best he can. He's trying to get
Yeah, you got to do what you
got to do. What you got to do. I get it.
And get everybody in and out of every single NFL week. But
it's typical of a bad season, man. You can't save it once it's gone.
It is amazing, and we talked about this on the broadcast yesterday, what a turning point Week 6 was for both of these franchises. The Bills had lost back-to-back games, had fallen to 3-2 on the season, and the Jets were also 3-2. And the winner of that game in Week 6 was going to be in first place in the AFC East. Bills win the game by the skin of their teeth because Greg Zuerlein clanged 2 off the left upright in that game, and the Jets lose by 3.
I mean, remember,
Robert Saleh is fired the next week.
Yeah.
And then we all know what happened after that to both teams.
Remember what people were saying before the season started when it came to the AFC East and how it was going to play out as we looked into Week 1 and beyond? It was the Bills are going to take a step back. They're not going to win the division this season. You've got other teams that are going to take front and center stage here. You've got a Jets team with a healthy Aaron Rodgers and a great defense. Let's see what they can do. You've got a Miami Dolphins team who still has talent on offense. The Patriots certainly rebuilding, but with a quarterback who they believe in, and we've seen Drake May is a good quarterback. Not that the Patriots were going to try and take the AFC East this year, but even just looking beyond this season and into the next few seasons for what the AFC East is going to look like, what's going to happen to the New York Jets? We don't know who's going to be their head coach. We don't know who's going to be their quarterback. The Patriots have their guy that they're going to try and build around. They could have the first pick in the NFL draft, depending on what happens in this final game. But you look at the Miami Dolphins, too, and there's questions surrounding that team on offense and what they have become this season. I mean, the next few years in the AFC East, it could be Buffalo's turn again the next few years to keep winning the division title.
Yeah, the Jets certainly have some really high-level decisions they've got to make. Head coach, GM. The Dolphins, they've got to be doing some soul-searching because they've got a guy here taking snaps in Buffalo who they can't find a way to beat, head coach or quarterback. And the Patriots, they just got shellacked 40-7, and it was non-competitive. And you got to think maybe they're going to change head coaches again with the new quarterback that they've got, and they're going to have the first pick of the draft. So all three of those teams are not. I mean, it's not pretty. Although the Dolphins got a chance to get in to the playoffs. They do have a chance to get in, but man, they got to be sitting there looking at what are we going to do? We're going to go to Buffalo. If we're the 7th seed, we're going to Buffalo.
And there's a lot of snow in the forecast for the next 10 days. Just saying.
It's they've got to feel like they're banging their head against the wall. They felt like, or maybe they do, maybe they don't, feel like they've got their quarterback and they've supported him as best they can. Head coach, the players around him, they can't get it done. Now, they did play extremely well offensively here in Buffalo when the Bills beat them this last time by 3.
It was a tight game.
It's a very tight game, and their offense was very efficient, and they got some stuff done. So they were close. But, man, oh, man, they've got to feel like they are seriously banging their head against a wall.
Yeah. So those are the Maddy Awards for Week 17. Thanks for providing those, Maddy. And we'll see if we catch up with you next week, heading into the postseason. The last regular season edition of the Maddy Awards hopefully has a Week 18 edition.